ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12. Vacham dahitaram tanvim swayambhur manaha akama chakame kshatta sakama itina shrutam. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. तम अधर्मे कृता मतिं विलोक्य पितरं सुताः मरीचिमुख्या मुनयो विश्रम्भात् प्रत्यबोधयन्. Thus, finding their father so deluded in an act of immorality, the sages headed by Marichi, all the sons of Brahma, spoke as follows with great respect. नैतत्पूर्वैः कृतः त्वद्ये न करिष्यन्ति च परे यस्त्वं दुहितरं गच्छेरनिग्रहान् गजं प्रभुः. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in the previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe. So how is it that you want to have sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? तेजीयसाम् अपि ह्येतन् न सुश्लोक्यं जगद्गुरो यद्वृत्तम् अनुतिष्ठं वै लोकः क्षेमाय कल्पते. Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. तस्मै नमो भगवते यः इदं स्वेन रोचिषा आत्मस्थं व्यञ्जयाम् आसा सधर्मं पूतम् अर्हति. Let us offer our respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead, who by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested this cosmos. May he also protect religion from all goodness. स इत्थं घृणतः पुत्रान् पुरो दृष्ट्वा प्रजापतीन् प्रजापतिपतिस्तन्वं तज्जाज व्रीडितस्तदा तां दिशो जघ्रुर्घोरां निहारं यद् विदुस्तमः. The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he has accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness. कदाचिद्ध्यायतः श्रष्टुर्वेदा आसं चतुर्मुखात् कथं श्रक्ष्यामि अहं लोकान् समवेतान् यथा पुरा. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds as in the past millenniums, the four Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his four mouths. चातुर्होत्रं कर्मतन्त्रम् उपवेदनयितः सः धर्मस्य पादाश्चत्वारस् तथैवाश्रम वृत्तया. The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, the action performed in terms of supplementary Vedas. All the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. Vidura Uvacha स वै विश्वं सृजामीशो वेदादीन् मुखतो सृजत् यद्यत् येन सृजत् देवस् तन्मे ब्रूहि तपोधन. Vidura said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth. Maitreya Vacha ऋग्यजुस्सामथर्वाख्यान् वेदान् पूर्वादिभिर्मुखैः शास्त्रम् इज्यां स्तुतिस्तोमं प्रायश्चित्तं व्यधात् क्रमात्. Maitreya said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, the subject matters of recitation, and transcendental activities were all established one after another. आयुर्वेद धनुर्वेदं गान्धर्वं वेदम् आत्मनः स्थाप्यत्यं शास्त्रजं वेदं क्रमात् पूर्वादिभिर्मुखैः. He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. इतिहास पुराणानि पञ्चमं वेद ईश्वरः सर्वेभ्य एव व्यक्तेभ्यः सस्रजे सर्वदर्शनः. Then he created the fifth Veda, the Puranas and the Itihasas, from his mouth, since he could see all the past, present, and the future. षोडशोक्तैः पूर्व वक्त्रात् पुरीष्य अग्निस्तुस्ताव अत आप्तोर्यामातिरात्रो च Vajapayam, Sagosavam, all the different varieties of fire sacrifices. Shodashi, Ukta, Purisi, Agnistoma, Aptoryama, Atiratra, Vajapeya, and Gosava became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma. विद्या दानं तपः सत्यं धर्मस्येति पदानि च आश्रमां च यथा संख्यम् असृजत् सः वृत्तिभिः. Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of caste according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order. सावित्रं प्रजापत्यं च ब्राह्मं चात बृहत् तथा वात सञ्चय शालीनशिलोञ्च इति वै गृहे. Then the thread ceremony of the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in the terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grains. वैखानस वाकु वालकीयो दम्बरा पेनप्पा वने न्यासे कुटीचकः पूर्वं बह्वोदो हंस निष्क्रियौ. The four divisions of retired life are the Vaikhanasas, Valakilyas, Audambaras, and Fenapas. The four divisions of renounced order of life are Kutichaka, Bahvodahas, Hamsas, and Nishkriyas. All these were manifested from Brahma. Anvikshit ki tatrayi varta danda nitis tathaiva cha evam vyahritayaschasan pranavo hi asya dahritah. The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and celebrated hymns, Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha, all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranava, Omkara, was manifested from his heart. तस्योऽग्नि आसील लोमभ्यो गायत्री च त्वचो विभो तिष्ठुं मां सात् स्नुतो नुष्टुभ जगति अस्नः प्रजापते. Thereafter, the art of literary expression, Ushnik, was generated from the hairs of the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn Gayatri was generated from the skin, Tristup from the flesh, Anustup from Majjaya Pankit sorry मज्जायः पङ्क्तिरुत्पन्ना बृहति प्राणतो भवत्. The art of writing verse pankti became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of brahati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities. स्पर्शस्तस्या भवज्जीवः स्वरो देह उदाहृत उष्मानम् इन्द्रियाणि आहुर् अन्तस्तबलम् आत्मनः स्वरा सप्तविहारेण भवन्ति स्म प्रजापतेः. Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabets, his body as the vowels, his senses as the sibilant alphabets, his strength as the intermediate alphabets, and his sensual activities as the seventh notes of music. शब्द ब्रह्मात्मनस्तस्य व्यक्ताव्यक्तामनः परः ब्रह्माव भाति विततो नानाशक्ति उपब्रह्मितः. Brahma is the personal representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of material manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies. ततोपराम् उपादाय स sargaya manodade. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was now forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation. ऋषीणां भूरि वीर्याणाम् अपि सर्गम् अविष्कृतं त्यक्त्वा तद् दृढये भूयस् चिन्तयाम् आस कौरव. O son of Kurus, when Brahma saw that in spite of presence of sages of great potency there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. Aho adbhutam etanme vyaprutasyapi nityada nahi edante prajanunam daivam atra vigatakam. Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destination. एवं युक्तकृतस्तस्य दैवं चावेक्षत तदा कस्य रूपम् अभूत् द्वेधा यत्कायम् अभिचक्ष्यते yeah. While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, two other forms were generated from his body. They are still celebrated as the body of Brahma. ताभ्यां रूप विभागाभ्यां मिथुनं सम्पद्यत. The two newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship. यस्तु तत्र पुमांसो भूम् मनुः स्वयंभुवः स्वरात् स्वराट् स्त्रियश्च स्त्री यस्य शतरूपाख्या महिष्यास्त्र asya mahatmanah. Out of them, the one who had the male form became known as Manu, named Swayambhuva, and the woman became known as Shatarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. Tada mithuna dharmena prajahi edam babhuvire. Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generations of population one after another. Sachapi Satarupavyam Panchapatyani Ajijanat Priyavratotama Uttanapado Tishra Kanyascha Bharata Akutir Devahutischa Prasuti Iti Sattama. O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Shatarupa five children, two sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, and three daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. आकूतिं रुचये प्रादात् कर्दमायतु मध्यमां दक्षायादात् प्रसूतिं च यथा आपूरितं जगत्. The father, Manu, handed over his first daughter Akuti to sage Ruchi, the middle daughter Devahuti to the sage Kardama, and the youngest Prasuti to Daksha. From them, all the world filled with population. Hare Krishna. Thus ends the 12th chapter called Creation of the Kumaras and Others from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So here we feel very important part role played by Lord Brahma. In fact, Lord Brahma is a demigod, yeah, and filling the post called Brahma post. Just like when we call, there are different um, responsibilities in the matter of administration. In the matter of administration, there will be something that will be created, that will be maintained, that will be destroyed. Lord Brahma is called Guna Avatar, and in fact, it is that for every yuga, yeah, or we can see that there is after the creation, yeah, there is this post of Brahma is filled. Yeah, when we go through few purports from the verse 27, we see that very clearly from the purports of Prabhupada. So we take it from 27 or 28. Yeah, we are talking about here when Maitreya Rishi is telling to Vidura about the creation done by Lord Brahma, he also is bringing a very important aspect. Yeah, it might look like why is Maitreya Rishi telling about this, which is not maybe from a mundane point of view, not so appreciating, or it's something like saying, hey, instead of glorifying Lord Brahma's greatness, exalted position, by telling his past, yeah, that's what is mentioned here by Maitreya, it is little surprising. Here we see Maitreya is saying, we have heard. Maitreya is saying, he reveals hesitation and offenseless attitude in narrating this incident. This is what we need to understand. It is that Maitreya Rishi is narrating as it is, but he is saying, we have heard. He is not just telling his opinion. He is not just making the opportunity and just want to tell something personal or feelings, but he is saying, we have heard. Reveals Maitreya Rishi's hesitation and offenseless attitude in narrating this incident. And although this shouldn't be spoken, he speaks about this only to give knowledge hmm, that the strong senses could bewilder even a most learned person. Here we see Lord Brahma. Yeah, here we are seeing. So, on a neutral or a unbiased, the narration that is what Maitreya Rishi is giving, in that he is definitely also mentioning that this is also what he heard, that when when Brahma was in process of creation, what happened is we know that from different parts of his body, different came, and Brahma. Let me see this exact verse. 1 second. Let me go. Okay, 27. 28. 28, and then there is this 29. Um, okay, I'm also there. Okay. Okay, so in this, yeah, when we go through a set of verses from here, we can understand overall how to understand this in a better way. On one side, that we see that when Vacham Duhitaram means daughter, Vacham Duhitaram Tanvim. So from the body of Brahma came a female personality called Vak. And seeing her here, as her daughter, we can see who has born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. We need to understand few aspects. Here we are talking about Kshattam. Here is an Akama, without being sexually inclined, is the female personality here. And Lord Brahma here is addressed that who was attracted to him. And have this is what he has heard, and this is what Maitreya Rishi is narrating. And in purport Prabhupada is explaining, of course, taking this opportunity to tell how dangerous is this desire of sex life, that one can be carried away even if one has intelligence. Of course, we will see what happens when once someone is caught up in that. In the later verses, where we see that tad adharme krita matim vilokya pitaram sutam. So, thus finding their father so deluded in this act of immorality. Here we can see from a common man point of view, hey, how is this? It looks like a very immoral act. How can a father be indulged in this kind of desire towards his daughter? Yeah. When we see from a material or a mundane point of view, from a, what do you call, the bodily platform, our body is definitely made of these panchabhutas, whereas when we see the body of Brahma, it's made of not just gross elements that we have. That's why we see they are in different planets, and the higher you go, the planets, the subtle body is uh, uh, mm, greater than the material body that we usually have. These gross elements are less. So Marichi is asking the sages, like, Marichi, we're not in the wrong in submitting these protests. They were saying, hey, father, how is it that you are having this kind of feeling? And therefore, it is always very dangerous for persons who are in the path of self-realization. Therefore, great personalities like Brahma, even when in the wrong, should not be neglected, nor could the great sages headed by Marichi show any disrespect because of their extraordinary behavior. So one may see them low. It might be that Brahma wanted to warn his subordinates about human frailties in their dealings with women. So we can see that the leelas of the Lord, or anything that happens, definitely is not under uncontrolled act of the Lord. Definitely everything is under the control of the Lord, and this act of Brahma is also. How to understand is saying these his sons are saying, "Oh Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring uh, to complicate yourself was never attempted by anyone." And in that the purport, it says the post of Brahma is the supermost post in the universe. And it appears that there are many Brahmas and many universes besides the one in which we are situated. One who fills this post must be ideal in behavior, for Brahma sets the example for all living entities. Brahma, the living entity, who is the most pious and spiritually elevated, is entrusted with the post next to that of the Supreme Lord. So it is very, very important when one is taking up very important roles, then he is very much lives a role model life. Even though you are most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. It is said here that mm, uh, this the third point, your character is followed by people in general for spiritual advancement, yeah, improvement. So if your character is not understood well, yeah, if one will see your act of this, what will they do? And they may follow. So the Brahma sons, they pray to the Lord. 32nd verse. Tasmai namo bhagavate yah idam svena rocisha atmastam vyanjayam asa sadharmam patum arhati. Patum is protection. So the sons are asking for protection from the Supreme Lord for his father, for their father. And why? Because the Lord gives protection to devotees who are always engaged in the transcendental loving service, and by his causeless mercy, he forgives the accidental fall of a devotee. Therefore, sages like Marichi prayed for the mercy of the Lord, and their prayer was fruitful. Then what happened? Because of that, Brahma felt ashamed. Hearing his sons, Brahma was ashamed of his act and gave up his body. What does this mean? Is giving up body is giving up the mentality, uh, which appeared in all directions as fog, uh, niharam. Niharam is this darkness or fog. We see a similar not I mean, okay, let's, before we go there, here we understand here what happened is when when there was this female personality who came from the Lord, from Lord Brahma, yeah, we may see she as daughter, and also in the Sanskrit here we can see that Duhitaram is also mentioning as daughter. For that matter, everything that is coming from the Lord definitely is, if we are seeing some, for us the definition of a daughter or a son is uh, that when someone is taking birth from someone. But of course, we have to understand that birth that this Vag Devi has got is not just like any mundane union of man and woman when begetting a child whom we call as a daughter or a son. So here it is that the Lord is himself, Lord Brahma himself is expanding. Yeah, Guna avatar. Guna is the passion. So Lord Brahma is the personification of passion. And then from him, um, in the process of creation, which is the quality of nature of passion, Rajoguna, then comes this Vak. And for the purpose, for what actually? For uh, populating the universe. That is the main intention of Lord Brahma. And in that, what do you call, urge to create. So when this personification came in the form of Vagdevi, Lord Brahma is asking, I have created you for three purposes. Yeah, this is what is I referred to Ma- Brahmanda Puran, Brahma Puran. The second one is Matsya Puran. These from these two references, we see that um, when she comes, he says three goals. One is that may you be on the tongue of all Gyanis, so that all the Vak, the Vedas, are pronounced and you sit on the tongue. So that second one you expand as a river, as Saraswati, and third one I forgot. Mm,
Wife of
huh?
Brahmaji. Brahmaji wife.
Yeah, as wife, for creation of population, yeah.
Population.
So for these three purposes, but this Vagdevi, she says, oh no, not interested. Why? Because okay, she doesn't want. She thinks in a way that okay, this is not what she would like to offer as service. Rather, she is a bit hesitant not to join Lord Brahma for procreation, and she moves from direction to direction, and that's how the Lord Brahma's head appears left, right, all these directions. All this is said in the different Puranas, but the essence of that is that finally Lord Brahma still convinces, so that this is what you will also see in the verse later that will come. To understand this, the father of all Prajapati, Brahma, thus seeing all the Prajapati's sons speaking in this way, became ashamed. And the purport says the best way to compensate one's sinful act is to give up one's body at once. Here, what Brahma did is he gave up his body. What is that? The mentality of enjoying, the mentality which is actually coming from this Rajogun. Brahma has a fabulous duration of life, but he was obliged to give up this body due to his grievous sin, even though he had merely contemplated it in his mind without having actually done. And this, I mean, the purpose you can get more insight. But one important point here is after this, what happened was Brahma gave up this mentality, and this went and became the fog or ignorance or darkness. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, or sinful life is the cause of gross ignorance. The feature of ignorance is darkness or fog. Hmm? One who takes shelter of the Lord, the perpetual light, has no fear of being annihilated in the darkness or fog. And after this, Brahma starts creating further till verse 49. It goes like the Rig Veda, um, hmm, activities of Hotas, eastern mouth, Yajurveda, activities of Adhar, Advaryu is the southern mouth, Samaveda is the activity of Ugdata, western mouth, Adharva Veda, activities of Brahma, northern mouth. So in that way, and then Upavedas are Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, Sthapatya Veda is architectural science, how to make the temples, the deities, murtis, etc. Then Panchama Veda is the Puranas and Itihasas. come from all the mouths of Lord Brahma. Then comes Karma Tantram, which is Shodashi Uktaha recitations. All this description is mentioned from the legs, four legs of Dharma, comes from the four mouths. Um, the point here goes further is from the 48th verse. Yeah, just to speed up, I'm just going to the 48th verse. Brahma, whose body is composed of the Vedas, Shabda Brahma, is invested with multifarious energies and is the personal representation of the Supreme Lord. Now, in the 49th verse, we see Brahma accepts new body. Huh? We know that Brahma has given up this mentality or the body. Giving up his previous body, Brahma accepts a new body in which sex life is not forbidden and concentrated his mind on creation. So, we can see that I think I have missed some important verse purport. I will check which one later, but yeah, it comes in the verse 41 to 43 that there is this four ashramas: brahmacharya ashram, grahastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, sannyasa ashram, and within the brahmacharya there is Savitra, Prajapatya, Brahmana, Brahat. And then there are four occupations of grihasthas, which is Varta, Sanchaya, Salina, Silonchana. Uh, so, and then comes Vanaprastha. So, all these divisions, which are, these are all, Prabhupada writes that these are not new inventions. These, in fact, are there. And there is Brahmacharya, which is that one doesn't think about or does any indulgence in sex life for life right from birth, who are called Naishtika Brahmacharya. And Prabhupada writes, let me quickly check which one is that. Um, one second. Vishnu, yeah, in the purport 42. In purport 42, he says, we had the opportunity to meet a avowed brahmachari in the personality of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupada, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj. Such a great soul is called Naishtika Brahmachari. Then we go to 48 or 48, yes. Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Lord as a source of transcendental soul. So here we see after giving up the uh, body, and then he took this new body. Here we see the post of Brahma is the highest responsible post within the universe, and it is offered to the most perfect personality of the universe. Sometimes the supreme personality of Godhead has to become Brahma when there is no suitable living being to occupy the post. In the material world, Brahma is the complete representation of the Supreme Lord, and transcendental sound pranava comes from him. And very important, very important is whatever we have read till now, how to understand that is mentioned in this purport, last part 48. His transcendental value, Brahmas, is not to be minimized even though he exhibited a tendency to enjoy his own daughter. There is a purpose for exhibition of such a tendency by Brahma, and he is not to be condemned like an ordinary living entity. So, whatever, now we got the opportunity to read the greatness of Brahma and his creation of universe and Kumaras and everyone else. In this process of creation, we may not understand why a particular mood is developed, why a particular act is performed. For us, we cannot see from a mundane material mindset of 21st century to understand what Lord Brahma has created at the time of creation. So we have to be, of course, when this is Prabhupada writes in the purport, Brahma's transcendental value is not to be minimized, even though he exhibited a tendency to enjoy his own daughter. Here we may see this tendency to enjoy his own daughter is for a purpose. What is the purpose? So that he can give up his mentality or his body, which became darkness, which became fog, so that this fog is there, and And after that, Lord Brahma started creating, and all those things, Vedas and everything came manifested. And after everything was there, then comes this 49th verse. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden. So now again the question will come, is Swayambhuva and Shatarupa are brothers and sisters because they came from Brahma? We should not see like that. Why? Because in the verse 50 it is said, Rishinam bhuri viryanam api sargam avisritam gnatva tad dradaye bhuyas chintayam asa kaurava. We say, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages, okay, sorry. This verse is telling about Brahma was worried and he started creating how? By expanding himself into two forms. So when someone is expanding himself in two forms, it doesn't mean that he is um, kind of progeniting two personalities here. Here, of course, they see Brahma as their father. Why? Because we see father means one who is from whom one is born. Yeah. But at the same time, we have to understand that it is an expansion of Brahma, that Shatarupa and Swayambhu are born. It is said, Prabhupada writes in Prabhupada, two bodies came out from the body of Brahma. One had a mustache and other had a swollen breast. No one can explain the source of their manifestation, and therefore, until today, they are known as Kayam, or the body of Brahma, which means usually we want to know, right, who is the father, who is the mother of them. So here it is said, no one can explain the source of this their manifestation. uh, and that's why they are called the body of Brahma, with no indication of their relationship as his son or daughter. हाँ, ताभ्याम रूप विभागाभ्याम मिथुनम संपद्यता. The two newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship, and then they had two sons and three daughters. And after that, it's concluding saying that two sons are Priyavrata Uttanapada, three daughters are Akuti Devahuti, and then we go into this story of Varaha, how Lord Varaha Dev appeared. I think we have covered that 13 to I think 18 or 19, when we were discussing about the appearance of Varahadev. Here we see that the father, Manu, handed over his first daughter Akuti to sage Ruchi, the middle daughter Devahuti to Kardama, and youngest Prasuti to Daksha. Hmm? And from them every creation or everything started creation. The history of creation of population of the universe is given here with Brahma is the original living creature in the universe, from whom were generated Manu Swayambhuva and his wife Shatarupa. From Manu, two sons and three daughters were born. Therefore, I mean, goes for, therefore, Brahma is known as the grandfather of everyone, and the personality of Godhead, being the father of Brahma, is known as great grandfather of all living entities. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions, anything someone have, you can share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thanks for this nice lecture, Prabhuji. Uh, yeah. One question is, Prabhuji, like, I don't know if it was covered, but I missed it, Prabhuji. Yeah. Lord Brahma is such a elevated personality, Prabhuji. So
Mhm.
why did his mind go south side, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it is said that, yeah. So we see that Brahma is a representative of the Lord. Definitely, he is transcendental. And as part of Leelas, these things happen. Just like how when Lord created, how did Rudra come? Yeah, where we see that he was in anger. We
Yes.
can ask the same question now. How could Brahma became very angry and then Rudras came? So as part of creation, all this happened, and these are explained in that way, so that for us it appears something. What do you call? Amazing or wonderful or interesting, yeah, because we don't have the ability to understand that. And that's why we can also see how Marichi and others were seeing, oh, how come my father is doing like that. So when they themselves, such great rishis, are thinking, so what can we say? And the purport where we see is actually even in the similar lines, there is also when Mohini Murti was so attractive that Lord Shiva ran behind Mohini Murti, right? We know this. How is
Yes,
it
Swami.
possible? Yeah, when these leelas happen, they don't happen just for out of material reasons. Hmm? We are talking about divine personalities, and when these leelas happen, they are filled with divinity. And when we have this shakti or upasana, when we have devotion, then these leelas uh, significance or essence is revealed to us. Yeah. So to your question, how is it possible? Yeah, it was possible. Yeah, to make sure that Brahma is still a living being. Of course, he's a representative, but still he is not the supreme personality of Godhead.
Yes, Swami. Thank you, Swami. Present.
I
Okay.
mean, I don't know if I covered. Of
Go ahead,
course,
Swami.
if
Yeah.
if we want to understand only about this particular aspect, we may refer to couple of, as I said, this Matsya Puran is one where there is another incident what happened, and it is said that mm, just like how we are discussing about a man and a woman or a husband and a wife and the progeny, which is a physical union, we are not talking about that in the remits of Brahma. And of course there is always that Brahma also created, when we were reading about in the sixth canto, what are we reading? Brahma created what? Shabalashvas, Haryashvas. But what happened? No? Narad Muni came and changed them
Yes,
to
Swami. He changed the complete purpose. Yes.
so on one side, so these things are happening. Why? Because on one side Brahma does creation, yeah, and of course there are other things that are happening, yeah, which shows that there is a limit of Brahma, and even in fact, when Narad Muni asked who is the supreme Lord, Brahma didn't say that I am the supreme.
Yes, Swami. Yes, Swami.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Swami.
we have to understand from that level, and of course we shouldn't just like so many people will think, na, how what kind of act it is that one is running behind a daughter. Yeah, if we think in that sense, it can make us understand, think that it is a wrong act and etc. But we have to see it for a purpose where Brahma had done this, and he continues with his creation.
Yes, Swami. Thank you,
Yeah,
Swami.
that's how we take shelter. What kind of shelter is? By reading through acharyas, understanding from acharyas.
Yes, Swami. Agreed, Swami. Yeah, that's why their purports and interpretations is critical.
Very important. Yeah, that's the reason. If I don't read the purports and I would have just read the translations, the understanding would be different.
Yes, even the naysayers, go through it at superficially and arrive
Yeah.
at wrong.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. If
thank
someone is against Hindu istic or Sanatan Dharma, he would just straight go to this point and say, "Hey, how can this be happening? And how is it approved, accepted? Is it moral, immoral? All these things." Yeah, that's why where we don't have the upasana, when we don't have devotion, shraddha to
Yes,
this, then this can be misunderstood.
yes, Rohit, agree, Rohit. Thank you, Rohit. Agree.
And to understand, we first go to that level, then we can understand. If we don't go to that level and it's just information.
Yes, Rohit. Becomes like Amar Chitrakatha. Totally. Yes, Rohit. Thank you, Rohit.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji. One question from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So the 11 Rudras which came out of Brahma's anger,
Mm-hmm.
um, mainly what we call our Lord Shiva, whose abode is in Kailash.
Mm-hmm.
Is he one of them?
Yeah, we see that Rudra is the 11th Rudra is Lord Shiva. This is what we see. Yeah. And we saw in these translations one of that there are millions of Rudras. Of them there are principal 11 Rudras.
Okay.
Yeah. Of that, the 11th is Shiva, and that 11th Rudra Shiva is an expansion who came as Hanuman. This is what I remember.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, again, same question. How could Rudra, I mean, be so grave? Grave means Raudrata, Rudra. He's crying so loudly. He's crying so loudly that became so loud that Brahma gave him the name Rudra. Him means here we see that it is in utmost eagerness to know who he is. With that, he was crying. Yeah. This is again coming from. Oh, if I'm not wrong, from Garuda Puran when I was reading that, but I have to refer again. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mm-hmm. And for a purpose again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then thank you very much for joining. Tomorrow would be quite an exciting start. Yeah, we are talking about appearance of Varaha. Question is, shall we read quickly through that part, or because recent in this year we have covered, shall we skip this and go on? What do you all prefer? As it's fresh, shall we just quickly go through very fast, or just move on?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think we have this Nilavaraha, Shvetavaraha. You spoke about it. Maybe
Hmm.
it will be nice to have it, Prabhuji. That's just my opinion, Prabhuji.
So,
Yes, Prabhuji,
kind
that
of,
will be a repetition and maybe we can
okay,
I too thought the
remember more.
same. It would be nice if we hear again.
okay. Now, how can we skip that? Yeah, that's also a point. Yeah, so then I will not divide it in two parts and I will go with the flow because we also have gone through the purports in good detail and at least read the translations. Hmm? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Okay then. Yeah. After all this creation, something we can see of the Leelas of the Lord as part of the creation. Okay then, thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarabhyasya kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Take care.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.